What is up, everybody? It is Saturday, July 27th. We've got a busy day today. I'm just now over here letting the chickens out. You see them down there, turning them out. Usually the wife does that, but they are off at a volunteer event this morning. I gotta get the truck loaded and head down to the garden. We have had right at 2 inches of rain now in the last week and a half, so much welcome 2 inches of rain, and actually I'm pretty pleased with that. Some areas around us got 4.5, 5 inches of rain, and they actually had a lot of flooding and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with the 2 inches that we got. So I'm gonna get my truck loaded up. I gotta head down to the other garden. The weeds, because of that 2 inches of rain, the weeds are really starting to pick up. But the other thing we got going on is, I'll take you over here and show you. We had to cut some trees down over here around the barn lot. And we've got a mess to clean up. I'm almost over there now. I'll show you. So we started working on this yesterday, and I didn't, video any of that. But see back here behind me, we've got 3 hickory trees that were about 80 feet tall we cut down. And then that cedar tree, that red cedar, was about 60 feet tall, and we took it down. The plan was to get the cedar milled into lumber, but when we got it cut down, the whole center of it was rotting out. So who knows how much longer it would have stayed standing. Those hickory trees are enormous and heavy. We started cutting one of them up yesterday. We got all the limbs cut out, and we got the couple of logs cut off of the base of it. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do exactly with those, but I think the plan is probably, since hickory doesn't really make the best lumber, oak, walnut, even poplar is good because it's lightweight, but hickory's not really known for its lumber. So I may just turn most of that into firewood, but the limbs that are 4 inches or so in diameter, I can use them to grow shiitake mushrooms. I think it's shiitakes. I'm probably going to buy some shiitakes and some oyster mushroom spores spawn. We used to pick a ton of oyster mushrooms up here in the woods. I mean, I foraged for bagfuls of oyster mushrooms up here for years. I haven't found any up here in over a year now. I don't know what's happened. I didn't pick them all. That's not what happened. We've had so inconsistent rainfall over the past 1.5 to 2 years now that I think it's really taken a toll. But I'm going to use some of these limbs that are, like I said, about 4 inches, 5 inches in diameter to put my mushroom spores into, to try to grow my own mushrooms. And then I had a huge white oak tree that I'm not going to take you to, that was dead. It had been dead for 2 years, still just a straight up snag. It was pretty big. I had it cut down yesterday, and so we're going to have to get that cut into logs and get it ready to move at some point, so that I am going to have it milled into lumber. So alright, well, I'm going to get the stuff in the truck, get loaded up, and I will see you down at the garden. Well, we're down in the garden now, and the tomatoes are just now starting to produce. So we've got, I think this is a Brandywine. I picked it from right here. So it is July 27th, and it's taken, oh man, six to 7 weeks for these tomatoes to actually start bearing ripe fruit. So a lot of people I see on social media like to post pictures of plants that are 3 weeks old with green fruit, and they're confused by why they don't have any ripe fruit. Tomatoes have to reach a certain maturity level before the fruit begins to ripen. Also, tomatoes, while you think of tomatoes as a summer garden plant, they really don't do well in extreme heat or drought conditions either. So that tends to kind of slow them down. You're going to have a situation where they're putting so much energy into just staying alive and overcoming the dry conditions or the oppressive heat, that they're not actually, the fruit isn't really getting the energy focused into it to mature and ripen. So you've got to wait. You got to have patience, and patience is a gardener's best friend. You've got to have patience if you're going to garden, because you cannot speed up the process of something growing or something reaching a maturity level before it begins to have fruit. I call it fruit. I mean, vegetables you know, whatever, but I call it all fruit before you actually have something you can harvest. So the other thing, I just picked this big behemoth, and the problem I'm running into now, and if you have any advice, please let me know. I've got all these little labels that when I grow tomatoes, and when I grow anything from seed, I'll write on the label what it is. Well, I will then put that label in the ground beside the plant that I was growing. Well, the problem is these labels sit out here for 6 weeks in the sunlight as the plants mature. Even though they're up underneath the plant, they're still getting exposed to some sunlight. Now all the labels are bleached white. I can't tell what anything is. Now some of them I remember, like I remember back over here, I put my Bella Rosa tomatoes back over here. I believe right up here in front of me is where I put my Empire tomatoes, which I actually bought the Empire tomatoes. I didn't grow them from seed, but pretty much everything else here I germinated from seed. But the labels are bleaching white, so I don't know what they are. So if you got any advice on that, please drop a comment and let me know. Here in front of me, you can probably see it a little bit, maybe out of frame, but you got a plant growing here. Now most people, and even I, thought this was a weed for many years, and this garden grows this particular plant very, very heavily. I would always rip it out. It's got a very kind of watercressy type texture to it, and kind of even appearance. This is actually wild purslane, and wild purslane is an edible, I believe it's high in vitamin C as well, and it's actually a wild edible plant, and it's growing everywhere in here. And so when I saw it coming up this year, instead of ripping it up, I decided I'm going to let it grow, and I'm going to try to harvest some and eat it. So let me know, drop a comment below if you have any experience with wild purslane. I've never eaten it. I've eaten a lot of watercress, and around here there's a lot of the old timers ate what they called field cress, or some people call them field creases. That's just the rural slang for it. But I'm going to harvest some later. I'm going to try to fix it. So drop a comment below. Let me know if you have any experience harvesting or eating purslane. I'm going to keep working here. I got a lot of weeding to do, and I got to get this garden kind of under control. I'm going to check on the status of some other stuff over here. I've made a lot of progress so far. I've got all these rows right here weeded, raked out. I even pulled the weeds from in between the beans here. It's making a big difference, as you can see there and back here behind me. I've still got to get to the other side. I pulled those weeds a week ago and I just threw them on the ground. And I've just got to go rake them up, and any of those that may have started to take root again, they should just pull right out of the ground. It's starting to get hot. Clouds are starting to burn off, fog and clouds are starting to go away, so the sun's starting to get pretty intense. Just looking here, blue lake beans are covered in blooms now, so hopefully we'll have those here soon. There's a few white half runners ready to pick, but they're starting to come on and bloom again. And I just went over and checked the corn, and the corn has made a complete turnaround since last Saturday. Last Saturday it was kind of yellow, just really small ears, and in the past week it's gotten dark green. There's big ears, got plenty of silk coming out the end of it. So the corn looks like it may have turned the corner. I hope we got rain in time to actually produce some sizable good ears that'll be good for picking. So anyway, I'm gonna get the other side. I'm gonna get that raked out. I gotta get home in a minute. It is 11 o'clock. I didn't have breakfast this morning. I got up and got everything taken care of at the house and got down here as soon as I could. So I'm starting to get kind of tired and weak. Actually, I'm looking down here. We got blue lake beans ready to pick right here on these few plants. So we gotta get these picked. I may do that this evening. Anyway, I gotta get the house. I gotta get the chainsaw and everything ready so I can start working on those trees. And then I guess I'll be back down here again this evening. So I guess, I don't know if this will be the end of the video or if I'll see you again this evening. Or I may even show you some video of what we're doing up there at the house with those trees. So if not, if that's the end of this video, then thank you so much for watching. I guess there'll be a second video or separate video for the picking of beans and or working on the trees up there. But thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the bell to be notified every time we release a new video. Have a blessed day. Happy gardening.